Natalie Sideserf here of Sideserf Cake Studio, and today I'm going to show you how I made an I can't believe it's not butter cake. And shout out to I can't believe it's not butter for this collab, because they came up with the idea and I think it's hilarious. Not only is it not butter, but it's cake. I'm starting out with a real tub of I can't believe it's not butter. I place a piece of parchment paper underneath and I trace around the bottom. Then I just cut out the shape, and then I'll use this as a stencil a little later. But first, let's make some dairy-free buttercream. I start by beating 4 room temperature sticks of I can't believe it's not butter. Then I sift 5 cups of confectioner's sugar, also known as powdered sugar. You want to get out all those chunks so your buttercream is nice and smooth. I'm adding the powdered sugar to the butter a little bit at a time. Keep the mixer on low, otherwise you may have an explosion of powdered sugar. And then it's gonna get everywhere. Then you're gonna have to clean it up. Once everything is mixed and it's nice and fluffy, you add a couple tablespoons of vanilla extract and a pinch of salt. This is also when you can add a few drops of food color. In Sideserf Cake Studio fashion, I colored some of my buttercream green. Now I'll stack my cake, spreading that green buttercream between each layer. This buttercream is called American buttercream, and it is a really great option for people who maybe don't bake too often, but they want a simple yet tasty frosting. It's simple, but it is much, much better than any of that store-bought stuff. Now I'll grab that stencil that I cut out earlier, and I'll place it on top, and then I carve the sides of the cake, cutting at an angle so that the cake is wider towards the bottom. This cake is chilled, so it's easier to carve and to flip over. I put the I can't believe it's not butter tub next to my cake, and it is slightly too tall, so I'm just gonna trim the top up a little bit. The real tub has rounded edges, so I round off the corners of my cake. And then I cover the entire cake in a layer of my dairy-free buttercream. I kept this outside layer of buttercream white because it's a lot easier to keep my cake clean. If it were colored, it could get all over my white modeling chocolate, and then it can start to get really messy. I'm rolling out modeling chocolate, which I'll use to cover the outside of the cake. Then I take a blade and I trim away the excess chocolate. I cover the top with one more piece of modeling chocolate, I trim the edges, and then I smooth it out. For the outside of this cake, I'm gonna do something a little bit different than usual. So to create the label, I'm using a sugar printer. A sugar printer is literally a printer that has edible ink in it, and you print onto sugar sheets. All 100% edible and all printed to scale. Now I'll just cut out the labels with scissors. I'm setting the lid labels aside for now, and I'm focusing on the side labels first. I hand paint like 99% of my cakes, so using a sugar printer for this one is actually really fun. It's so weird to see what looks like a regular label, but it smells like sugar and it tastes like vanilla. And look how good it looks! This is a great shortcut, and it looks more realistic than if I hand painted it. The first thing to do is peel the acetate back off of the sugar sheet. You definitely don't want to forget this part, because that acetate is not edible. And I'm placing it onto the cake. I sprayed a very small amount of water onto the cake first, and that's all you need to make it stick. I have to be extremely careful while handling this, because if it gets wet, the edible ink will bleed. Then there would be no way to save it, and I would have to reprint a new edible sheet. And that is exactly why I have multiple copies like I do for these lids. I have 4 of these printed out, and it's hard to tell, but each one is a slightly different size. That way, if my cake is slightly smaller or slightly larger than what I expected, then I'll have different size options to choose from. It turns out that the largest sized lid label actually fits my cake best. So I cut that out and I place it right on top of my cake. To make the lid, I'm brushing on a little bit of water, and this is going to help the modeling chocolate stick to the cake. And my paintbrush makes for a nice straight edge. Sometimes I just look around and I'm like, what's flat? What can I use? Now I've got my real tub of I can't believe it's not butter, and I'm going to use it to create a mold. I press some food-safe molding putty onto the edge of the lid, and then I let it firm up. So after about 20 minutes, I'm left with the perfect lid edge for my cake. I just press some yellow modeling chocolate into the mold, and I let it set for about 10 more minutes, and then I pull it out. It looks so good. It's the perfect lid. Now I'll adhere it along the top edge of the cake with a little bit more water, and then I'll use a sculpting tool to blend the seams. And there you have it, a cake of I can't believe it's not butter. And again, shout out to I Can't Believe It's Not Butter for coming up with this idea. The buttercream is delicious, and I just think the cake's so funny. Now let's cut the cake. What? It's a cake? I can't believe it. Thanks for watching, friends. If you like this video, please like this video below and subscribe to this channel right now because I post a brand new cake every single week. I also have some really fun Sideserf Cake Studio merch that you can check out right now at shop.sideserfcakes.com. Just got kid sizes too. So cute.